Destiny has seen its fair share of overpowered weapons terrorize the Crucible. But have you ever considered what takes the cake for the antithesis of destruction? The truth is, for every gun that has been frustratingly popular in Destiny's various metas, there has been an even larger pool of trash-tier pea shooters slugging it out at the bottom of the barrel. So, strictly talking about legendary weapons, what's the most irredeemable, irrelevant, and utterly forgettable 3 weapon parts to ever momentarily waste space in your weapon inventory? Number 1. The Red Spectre. Auto rifles haven't been a major part of the meta for a long time. In fact, excluding that one moment when the doctrine of passing briefly reared its head, autos have been on the wrong end of Destiny's competitive scene since the first fledgling months of the 2014 launch. Among the worst of the worst in this group, however, is the Red Spectre. The Red Spectre, a self-proclaimed prototype of the infamous Red Death, originally seemed like it could be a meta buster. While its base stability, range, and aim assist are awful, there was a visual glitch in the gun's displayed stats that made the gun seem to fall in the same rate of fire camp as the Monte Carlo, while offering the same impact as the Suros regime. But as anyone who used this gun quickly discovered, the Red Spectre was anything but overpowered. As I mentioned earlier, the gun's problems start in the stats. When it comes to auto rifles, the ability to stick on your target is easily the most important factor. Therefore, managing the recoil and improving the range or aim assist are the stats you want to look for. The Red Spectre excels in none of these areas. With the second lowest base stability among all auto rifles and below average range and aim assists, it's in the bottom 10 for each stat. The Red Spectre laughs at your feeble attempts to stay on target. Slap on Focus Fire, the only perk in Destiny to actively lower your weapon's DPS, and you've got yourself a literal pea shooter. Number 2. The Light of the Abyss. This fusion rifle has been an instant shard since its release in Crota's End. While it does hold the distinction of being the fastest firing fusion rifle in the game, that's about the only half-decent thing that can be said about it. Its first problem is a fusion rifle, meaning it carries all of the normal disadvantages, charge time, bullet travel, etc., as other weapons in this class. Beyond that, the Light of the Abyss happens to do less damage than any other fusion in the game. In fact, after Bungie's last round of Destiny fusion rifle nerfs, the one that reduced the damage of all fast-firing fusions, the Light of the Abyss was neutered to deal only 33 damage per bolt. Considering there's 7 bolts in a single fusion burst, that means that all 7 must hit their target in order to guarantee a one-shot kill. 8 armor and lower will die in 6 bolts, however. But don't worry, surely its perks and base stats make up for the weakness of its archetype, right? Wrong. With the second lowest base range and 7th worst base stability, the Light of the Abyss isn't doing anyone any favors. Its perks, which are set, and scopes also leave a lot to be desired. The gun comes with crowd control, which sounds promising but actually only raises the damage per bolt to a measly 37. And yes, even with 37 damage on a bolt, it still requires 6 bolts for a one-shot kill. Good thing you've got some other great perks like hipfire, speed reload, skip rounds, and enhanced battery. Otherwise there would be nothing redeemable about this gun at all. Number 3. The Hothead. To be honest, I was a little torn on what should be my final pick for this list. But ultimately, the Hothead takes the cake for a few reasons. First and foremost, the Hothead was a reward for completing one of the most painfully arduous questlines in Destiny, the Mountaintop. For those who don't know, before Shaxx just gave away those weekly bounties like they were candy, you had to complete a massive questline to unlock them. Originally, the quest even required wins in the Crucible, which was later patched to only require match completions. This made it one of the most infuriating time sinks in all of Destiny. Players assumed that after all the trouble, the pain, the sweat, the tears, Shaxx would reward us gallant guardians who rose to the challenge, a weapon befitting our sacrifice. Instead, we were greeted by the Hothead. Featuring a static roll of pure blech and baseline stats of absolute blech. The only positive thing that can be said about the Hothead is that it shares a weapon model with Dragon's Breath. A good rocket launcher for PvE or PvE requires a couple of things. An ideal inventory, the perk tripod, and something to help you hit your target. Without a decent inventory stat, you can only hold a maximum of 4 or 5 rockets, meaning 2 on pickup in PvP. Even with the perk Field Scout, you only move up to 6 total rockets and still just 2 in PvP. Only if you have the perk tripod or a plus heavy ammo boosting perk on your armor can you reach 7 or 8 total rockets and 3 on pickup in PvP. Finally, without either tracking or grenades and horseshoes, your odds of actually hitting something drop significantly. The Hothead comes with Last Resort, Spray and Play, and Field Scout. All said and done, the Hothead is easily the most disappointing weapon from my 3 years of Destiny. Those are my top picks for the worst guns in Destiny. Did I forget to mention any? Let me know in the comments below.